afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. We want to welcome you to today's episode of Conversations with Success. I am your host, T. Gray, Vice President of Operations for Ibüümerang, and I want to welcome you guys from all over the world to another episode of Conversations with Entrepreneurs. And here's what's really exciting about this show. This show is really designed to be a light, to be an encouragement, to be an inspiration. This is not going to be a business presentation. Instead, what it's going to be is a dose of inspiration by sharing with you the stories of somebody that maybe you can relate to. This is what we do every episode of Conversations. We let you hear the story of somebody that maybe you can relate to, who has a background maybe similar to yours, who ultimately made the decision that network marketing is their vehicle for freedom, for income, for legacy, for all of that. Especially right now in this crazy time that we're living in with the pandemic and quarantine and so many people being nervous about their jobs, even laid off or furloughed from their jobs, and thinking, wow, you know what? I got caught without a plan B. We hope that you're watching this and we hope that we inspire you to use this opportunity to get ready for the next time something insane happens, because something insane seems to always happen typically about every 8 to 10 years anyway. So excited, I'm crazy excited about today's show. We've actually tried to do this show a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't work out, but we're finally able to do this. I've got an incredible power couple coming your way today. We've heard the expression power couple, Bonnie and Clyde, dynamic duo. That is exactly who we're going to bring to you today. That type of a couple. These guys are both successful in and of their own right. They both have an incredible story by themselves, but together, what happens is truly epic. And so I can't wait to introduce you to some really good friends of mine. I am absolutely privileged and honored to know these guys and to call them friends, none other than Peter and Karen Hirsch. Peter and Karen, I've made you the host so that you can come on. There you go. Excellent. Let's go side by side here. So glad. Look at you. You got the memo about the red shirt.
How about that? We did not plan this.
You didn't plan it, but you know what? It happened. It happened. That's what I'm talking about. Karen, where's your red shirt?
I know. I feel left out. I have one. I should have worn it. But that would have been weird as a couple. Twinning as a couple is, a little much.
Even weirder, all three of us, right?
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So everybody, this is Peter and Karen Hirsch from Dallas, Texas. You guys say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
BÜM fam, excited to see you.
Now these guys are absolute rock stars, and they're going to tell you all about themselves. We're going to go back to the beginning, and then we're going to talk about what they've been able to achieve and the level of freedom and success that they've been able to achieve for themselves and help other people to do. So let's jump right in. You guys were not always in network marketing. So why don't you take us back to your beginning, what you started out doing, and tell the story of how you got here.
Sure. And why don't you choose our stories are so different. So you choose T. Gray because we love you and you're awesome. And you're the VP really of everything. So be the VP of this and choose who you want to go first.
Way to put me in the hot seat. There's only one choice.
I know.
Peter, not teasing. Karen. We're definitely going to go ladies first on this one. And we're going to start out with the queen. Karen, why don't you go ahead and tell your story?
Okay, awesome. Thank you, T. Gray. So my background, I actually started out in advertising sales, and this is going to really date me because it was yellow page advertising sales. So please, somebody put in the chat, I remember yellow pages.
I think what's already in the chat is, what are the yellow pages? Right?
I know. I debated whether I was
enough to remember. Look, some people in the chat said, I remember the yellow pages.
Okay.
But then someone else said, ma'am, I was a baby. I used to sit Like you reach my food at the table. So there you go. Okay.
Yes, started out advertising sales with the yellow pages and just really honed that whole salesmanship of ad sales. And ad sales is very interesting because it's not a product, it's an intangible. So it's a whole different kind of sell. And I worked for different companies. It was always print for the most part, print publications that I sold ads for. And I just hustled, always made sure I was, top salesperson and just moved up the ranks. And eventually I became, when I moved into more of the magazine world, because I made a stint through newspapers also. Does anybody remember when you actually opened, got your newspaper, read it with your cup of coffee? That I can't believe that that's almost gone also. But so I moved over into the magazine world, which was a ton of fun, and moved up the ranks to actually publisher. And I did launch a magazine called Lux Magazine. And it was an interior design and architecture publication. And we launched it in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and Austin, San Antonio markets initially. And it was going great. It was a ton of work. As a matter of fact, I have one here.
Wow. That's pretty. I like that.
Still, by the way,
really high class, by the way, Lux Magazine. Very nice. Yes.
So, but let me tell you something. I'm shortening the story, but there was a lot of hours and hard work put into working up to that level. And a lot of people don't know what a publisher is. So I'll tell you real quickly. A publisher is someone that oversees the entire publication. You coordinate the editors and the writing and the editorial and the photography, and you make sure that there's advertising sales and advertising dollars to pay for it. And then you work with distribution to get it out the door. So that was my job. And I was humming along, feeling pretty good about myself and thinking, you know what, I've made it. I am all that. I was, invited to all the big parties in Dallas. And, I thought I was living my dream. But during this time when I was hustling and making this happen, I have 2 children. And at the time I was a single mom, and the amount of hours I was putting in, it was, 24/7, I know sounds an exaggeration, but it was close to that. But I was determined. I didn't care. I needed to prove myself. But I missed a lot of functions for my kids. I tried to make the important ones, but I know as a mom, I needed to be there. And I felt like it was a constant juggle of choosing between work and my kids, and guilt. I was feeling guilty that I was either working too much and my kids were neglected, or I was spending too much time neglecting my work. So I never felt 100% content at where I was, even though I felt like, okay, because you always think that once you achieve that level, no, once I get here, everything's going to be good. Or once I get this title or this salary, life's grand. And I never felt that. I knew that I had reached a pinnacle, but I wasn't feeling happy. So one night, this was the moment everything changed for me. I got a phone call. It was about 8 o'clock at night. And my daughter, who was about 8 at the time, started screaming and crying and throwing a fit like her finger just got cut off. And she says to me, "Mommy, please don't answer that phone. Please, I'm begging you, don't answer the phone, and just spend time with me." And crying, the tears. And that was the moment I was like, okay, I got to do something different. Something is not working right now. And the next day, my sister called me and said, "Hey, you know, you and I, we've never really done any of, you know, that network marketing stuff or anything like that. But I was presented something that's pretty intriguing. Would you take a look at it? I don't know. I want your opinion on it. Come take a look at it with me. It was the very next day. And
that's how it started.
That's how it all started.
You know, that is an incredible story. That is really powerful because you know what? A lot of times people think that network marketing is for people who can't do anything else, right? And here you are, extremely successful, coming up in the advertising world, being successful, climbing all the way up the ladder to the level of publishing and actually having your own publication that you were the leader of. But as many people who have been successful come to realize that when you get up there, like you said, it becomes 24/7 and family becomes very, very difficult. And so I love your story. Thank you for being so open about that. And we're going to come back and we're going to pick up and see what happened next.
Okay.
But let's go to Peter. And Peter, tell us about your background, where you came from, what you were doing before network marketing.
Okay, so right before network marketing, I was a lawyer, and I still am. You know, here's the thing, I'm a recovering attorney. I get that. But you know, here's the thing, growing up Jewish in Long Island, there were only two choices, right? And if I didn't do well in organic chemistry, I was going to law school. I mean, it was really medical school or law school. That's part of it. But the reality is, ever since I had read as a kid To Kill a Mockingbird, that I knew I was going to be it. And I knew law was my future and I was going to do some incredible things. So I went to school, graduated at the top of my class, and sold out. Because instead of doing what I knew I was passionate about, as a matter of fact, there's something that's actually the number one series on Netflix right now is The Innocence Files. That is based on the Innocence Project, which started the year I was a first-year law student at my law school.
By the way, Peter, I thought it was Tiger King. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, this is really amazing, by the way. I never recommend TV.
Tiger King's pretty amazing too.
I haven't seen it. So the Innocence Project is something, I volunteered for them from the time I was a kid. That was going to be my future, working to exonerate people who were falsely accused and in prison for 10 years, 15 years. And that was amazing work. And then I graduated at the top of my class. I was wined and dined by all the top firms, and I just sold out. I just straight out. There's a lesson there, by the way.
You're going to have to explain it to us. What do you mean by you sold out?
Instead of doing what I knew I was called to do and what I loved and what I was passionate about, I took the money and I went to the white shoeist of the white shoe law firms in the world, considered till this day. Really, there's no second. It's the most prestigious law firm in the world. Even now, how many? I'd say 20, but I can't keep saying 20 years later because I've been saying that for 10 years. So I guess 30 years later, it's still just mentioning that firm and other attorneys. Oh, okay. Now, the reality is, as a first-year lawyer, I was a plebe. Doing absolutely nothing of significance. And when I say nothing of significance, I mean nothing. I couldn't stretch to find something. And after 3 years of this, man, I was so depressed. And check this out. I don't even know if we've spoken about this. The last case I was on, and it was a full year, by the way, and it was going on for many years after I left, but you are going to find this incredibly ironic, Tigray, and I know we haven't spoken about this, but the very last case I was on, the top 3 pharmaceutical companies in the world. We were representing one of the larger ones, and I was a minor player in it. They were accused of price fixing infant formula.
Wow.
Now, look what I do now.
you help provide nutrition for children
All over the world, the most vulnerable kids in the world. And the last case in my former career was representing companies that were accused of price fixing infant formula. So talk about an incongruent life.
Wow.
I'll
Talk
tell you,
about 180.
180. And really, you know, I didn't find this out until my dad's funeral, but he was the one in our community that when people were in jail, my dad is the one who put the committee together and found the funds to get people released on bail. I never knew that until his funeral.
Wow.
Which is wild to me because I've been involved in similar work and, you know, things are just handed down. But could you imagine the incongruent life? Man, I thought when I graduated law school very young, not even 22 years old, really young. And the starting salary in those days, and I remember it really well, it was $107,000 a year for a 22-year-old.
Wow. That's a lot for a 22-year-old.
I mean, it's like, man, I didn't grow up with means. So the fact that I could go out and buy a pair of jeans if I needed it, you know, was amazing. And I sold out. And very quickly, I was miserable. You know, when you're not living your purpose, or even when you're living a totally opposite, man. So I'll tell you, the one thing, you know, listening to this has been so inspiring. Listening to Michael Jackson and Johnny, remember all these guys who have down and out stories, and you know, from the hood to doing good, and all that stuff was so inspiring. I'm not a down and out guy. It wasn't down and out. I was up and out.
Right.
But you know, to me, that's so important, that this industry, and frankly, the entire home-based business industry, is not just for people who are down. Is it for people who are down and out? Absolutely, because it's the great equalizer, right? It doesn't matter, white, black, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, none of that matters. Women, none of it matters.
Right.
But here's the thing. Sometimes people say, yeah, you're down and out. I was up and somebody called me at the right time because I was also out. Emotionally, I was dead. And it was timing.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that's one of the things that's kind of formed a brotherhood between us, because, you know, I've got a similar story.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my story is not a down and out story. It's an up and out story like yours, where it was very successful, and that success created a lost soul. You know,
that's exactly right.
Created someone who is off the path and just really feeling crappy about, you know, where they are and who they had become. So
and what it's about, right? I remember the senior partner who was over this, the bunch of associates who were handling the depositions and the research and all that stuff. And he said to us, if you're working 70 hours a week on this case, it's not enough. No, he didn't say working. If you're billing 70 hours a week on this case, it's not enough. 80 hours a week, it's not. You should be billing 100 hours a week on this case. Now, to bill 100 hours a week, by the way, in 6-minute increments, you got to be working a whole lot more than 100 hours a week.
That's right.
So not only am I doing something I can't stand, but I'm doing it for most of my life, most of my time.
And Peter, just how many people are stuck doing something they can't stand? It might be making them great money. It might really be taking care of their family, but it might be like in your story, costing them their soul, sucking their soul dry, and they're totally depressed. Or like in Karen's case, costing the family, right? Like those had to be heart-wrenching words, the words no mother ever wants to hear. Mommy, please don't answer that phone. Just stay here with me, right? Everybody wants the success, but nobody wants it at, at that expense. And so I love where you guys' stories are bringing us. So Karen, let's go back to you. What happened next?
Let's do that.
Tigray, you just described the story of my life. Those words, that's it.
So I'm sorry, did you ask me a question today?
Yeah, so let's pick up from there. So fortuitously, like literally the next day, a lifeline gets thrown your way. Your sister calls you, introduces you to network marketing. What happened next?
So both of us ended up joining, and I actually ended up in, a higher leadership position in this company. And it was the whole idea of the perpetual residual income. I mean, residual income, because you got to understand, I'm coming from the magazine world where you put all this work into putting the content and the photography and the ad sales and get it out the door. And then you are starting all over again from square one for that next month, over and over. So you never you're always just rebuilding and rebuilding. So this whole concept of building something once, and because here's the thing, I'm good with working hard and with my daughter, even if I could have given her a timeline of, honey, if you give me, just this next bit of time, mommy's going to have to work really hard. But after that, then this will happen and things will be okay. But I could not see where that end of the road was in the publishing world. I knew it was never going to change. And that's what bothered me. It's not the hard work. It's just the idea of being able to build upon the hard work for something that was a future of freedom. And that's what fascinated me. And I was hooked actually after that. And then after a bit of time, I actually moved over to the corporate side of the industry on a couple of different companies because I had that business skill set. And at that point, because I had achieved some leadership ranks in the industry, I thought, you know what, I'll try applying my business skills, knowing what I know as a distributor and a rep, to the corporate side. And I did that for a couple of different companies. And then now we're here. Living the dream.
Living a dream, as they say. And you know what, it's really cool because you know what, I bet, Karen, that we have some corporate people who have had some success, or even some people who are self-employed or have their own businesses and who find themselves in a situation where they have to constantly recreate their business, recreate their paycheck. Every single, for example, if you had a restaurant, you got to recreate your success every single night, right? And so it's kind of like being on, a treadmill or a stationary bike, and you're pedaling and you're pedaling and you're pedaling, but you're just not getting anywhere. And so I'm sure that what you're sharing right now is really blessing some people. And, there's lots of folks too that want to get that. They think that that's what they want. Maybe that's what's holding them back from getting involved in network marketing. They think that, well, you know what, I'm going to go to the top of the company. And I'm glad that you're being so open and sharing what it's like to be at the top. Yeah, you might make a lot of money, but get ready to to have some pretty massive trade-offs. So thank you.
And what's interesting, Tigray, is I'm at the age now where, like, my girlfriends that have had very successful corporate careers, they're all looking for exit strategies. They're all, they've hit some good titles and some good salaries, and may get a little bit of retirement. A lot of them are having to move money around now that their kids are in college and cashing in 401ks and scrambling and all of that, which we haven't had to do yet, or we won't, not yet. We haven't had to do. And it's interesting to see all these people that I thought were so super successful in the corporate world scrambling for an exit strategy that they can live with. and not feeling
Wow.
comfortable with retirement, not feeling comfortable with the nest egg that they thought they had built, especially with the pandemic. It's been a rude awakening to a lot of my friends, that there needs to be another option and another way to do things, that corporate world and that success is not all that it's cracked up to be.
Wow. Those are some very, very powerful words. So on that note, let's spin it back to Peter. All right. So Peter, we left off on your story.
Yeah.
You were depressed. You were doing something that you didn't like. It was paying you lots of money, but you weren't getting any fulfillment from it. And it wasn't what you were supposed to be doing from a karma perspective. So what happened next?
I got a call. Isn't it interesting?
It's funny because our stories are actually very similar.
Yeah.
It was all about timing.
All about timing.
Yeah.
All about timing. I got a call, and I had no idea what this guy was inviting me to. He knew me more by reputation as this first year hotshot in New York.
Hotshot.
I know. See, I was a hotshot.
Wow.
Yeah. T. Gray, would you tell Karen I'm still a hotshot to a degree?
You're still a hot shot.
A hotshot.
You are a hotshot.
But Karen's a hotter shot.
No question. The hottest shot.
See, I'm going to stay out of trouble on this one, but I'm going to back you and stay out of trouble at the same time.
You did that really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I got a call. And he invited me. Can I just tell this? I'm going to be really transparent with this story. And this is not the kind of story you would typically hear about someone's entry into the direct selling industry. So remember, at this point, I am so depressed because without a vision, we perish. And I was perishing from the inside out. Looked good. Well, I don't know if I looked good, but I was perishing. So here's the thing. I get this call, and this guy invites me. It was going to be at the New York Hilton. I remember it so clearly, on a Tuesday night, and I was getting excited the whole day. I had no idea why I was getting excited, but it was something. Well, Tuesday comes, and I had no idea that Sunday on 60 Minutes, the company he invited me to see on Tuesday was spoken about on 60 Minutes in not a positive way. So
That's
to
funny.
these guys,
Wow.
yeah, but I don't, so all I know is I walk into this ballroom at the New York Hilton, and it is set up, there had to be 1,000 chairs. And the guy who invited me there was there, and 3 speakers, and me.
No.
I was the only yes. Now, to their credit, these guys did the whole presentation. Now, the whole time that they're doing this presentation, straight out, that this is, I don't think you ever heard this story. I may not have even shared this story, but this is straight out. The whole time they're doing their presentation, I'm thinking, I don't want to talk like these people. I don't want to eat like, I don't want to dress like them. I certainly wouldn't invite them to home for dinner. But then, these were the days that it was legal to show checks.
Okay.
We're not allowed to do that anymore. Now it's called enticement. Really, as ridiculous as that sounds, I mean, who wouldn't want to know the potential, right? I mean, it's just a logical question. But the law says we can, so of course we don't. But in those days, that's what people did. Now, here were these people who couldn't put a sentence together. And by the way, English was their first language.
Right.
They could not put a sentence together. And they were earning more money monthly than I was earning annually. And I was a hotshot lawyer.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, if these guys can earn a nickel, I'm going to be rich. And then I could really, and I was doing the whole justification again, as if selling out once wasn't enough. You know, I said, man, and then I can contribute here and do this and work for the Innocence Project full time. And I was thinking, whole thing was playing out. And then they gave me, I'm just going to say, I won't mention any names, but the product was a water filter that looked like a thermos. And I remember that night, they gave me one. I couldn't screw in a light bulb. Somebody once said to me when I had a flat tire, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I get a flat tire, I have to sell the car. You know, I had no idea what to do. So somebody said, didn't your dad ever teach you how to change a tire? No, my dad got me AAA. I didn't know how to change a tire. So they gave me this water filter. What I was supposed to do with it, I had no idea. But it was literally, I'm speaking metaphorically, but it was as if that night, I have to say as if this didn't really happen, but in my mind, it was as if there was a water filter on my left and a gun on my right. And metaphorically, I'm thinking, before I try the option on my right, let's see if this water filter thing works. I couldn't spell MLM front or back. I mean, I'd never heard of it. But that was my entry. Now, think about it also. Imagine psychologically the toll even that was playing on me. I went to a top law school, working at the top law. I had it. Well, no, I was going to enter the environment business. What is that? I was just going to sell water filters.
You had some identity crisis going on, but let me ask you this. How did you do?
So check this out. Okay. My first year in direct selling, my first year, get ready to put that disclaimer up, was $70,000.
Wow.
In debt.
Wow.
I did everything wrong. That was my first year. 70,000 in debt. There was nothing I could do right. You know why? Nobody could teach me anything.
Because you were a hotshot lawyer.
You
knew everything.
Yeah, this is where my education
hurt. In the chat said you can tell that he's an attorney because he used the word metaphorically.
That is a whole bunch of stuff.
As long as he's not saying and therefore and as foreseen and all those lawyer terms were good.
Exactly.
No, I don't speak in legalese, no way. So here's the thing though. My education was really messing me up because my head was so big I couldn't fit in a car. And I couldn't learn anything. These people who were not as educated as I am, they're doing whatever they want, and I'm 70,000 in debt. Something was wrong. But that was when I learned the most important lessons of my life. I mean, it was beautiful. I learned that products don't make people wealthy, and compensation plans don't make. I was one of those people that knew every aspect of the compensation plan. Mm-hmm. Now, you can even ask me about the compensation plan we're working now, and somebody says, how does it work? And all I'll say is really well. But at that time, I knew every little aspect. And what I've come to believe since then is there are people who are going to know every aspect of the comp plan, and then there are going to be people who become wealthy, and the two are rarely the same people.
And you know what? Let's just stop there for a second, because this is really good. I think we're really talking to, our professional and corporate people who might be looking at this today. And you're painting a picture of really what happens over and over and over again, right? Where people who have that type of a background may join, get involved in network marketing. And the problem that they have is a lack of coachability, right? Because they want to apply they want to try to translate their corporate success into this business. And I know that I did it too. I was, by the time I met Holton Bugs, I was just totally defeated by network marketing. So one of the things that we'd want to encourage everybody who's watching is definitely, if you are coming from that type of a background, make sure that you just kind of check your ego and your accolades and stuff at the door, and just come and learn. Just come and learn. And one thing that I got out of this too is that you both got a call. I mean, everybody watching, did you hear that part where Karen said, and the next day I got a call? And then Peter said, you know, I kind of reached a point where I bottomed out. I was really depressed. I was lost. And then I got a call. And so for those of you who are out there who know people who have a lot of success, please don't be afraid to give them the call, because you don't know what they might be going through. Just like in the case of Peter and Karen. So let's fast forward then. So you got involved in network marketing, and you obviously everybody takes some licks in the process. But what's really cool about both of you is you didn't quit. So let's fast forward to today. What kind of success are you experiencing in the network marketing business?
Go ahead.
So, you know, obviously we don't want to make any income claims. What I can share with you is being a blue diamond in Ibüümerang, really just having success in Ibüümerang. You know what? This is actually, this is the perfect time to just share. Karen and I were both out for a month at no choice. I mean, just life, and you know, and we were down. I mean, we got sick, and our volume went up. Okay.
Oh, time out.
Okay.
Stop. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So you were sick, and literally down and out sick for a month. I know this personally, right? And you didn't lose your job in the process.
Could you
weren't
imagine? I really, even though we hadn't
your
thought of it.
business actually went up and you made more money while you were sick.
Yes. True story that we could prove. Yeah, honestly, our ego and pride hurt a little bit over it, because we were like, wait a minute. Are we more important than that? It should have just totally fallen apart. We've been down for a month, but no, it did not fall apart. It actually got better and did better. And we're like, oh man, okay. But of course, it's amazing, because that's why we do what we do, to have that freedom.
And also it does speak to the incredible leadership.
Yes.
The leadership, really, Tigray, what you and Mark and the corporates, I have never seen a corporate team working harder and more dedicated. This is absolutely incredible. And the visionary leadership of Holton Buggs to be able to pivot as quickly and create iBoom TV with seamlessly, and then the leadership in our team who just stepped up and said, just get well. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. All right. So Karen, let me come to you for a second. Here's a question. So you guys came from a place where when you were successful at a traditional corporate level, you were on a hamster wheel. Your children were suffering from separation anxiety. You had a lot of guilt. You were making lots of money, had a lot of prestige, but you had all these negative side effects. Peter was making great money, but he was depressed because he was off track in terms of what he was supposed to be doing from a calling standpoint. Here you are now. You are also, once again, very, very successful, and making an income, frankly, that most people wouldn't even believe is possible. Where are those negative side effects? Are you still having those type of things in your life? What's life like now?
Well, I mean, to get to the level that we are, it takes a lot of work. And it goes back to what I was saying before. We had a conversation with the kids, right, and said, we're starting this new business. You're going to have to give us a lot of grace and some patience for X amount of time. And at least there was an end date. you know, we knew it wasn't going to be forever, that we had committed that we were going to work really, really hard for a committed amount of time. And then
how long is that committed amount of time?
Minimum 18 months.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't need to get to, we're not 18 months old.
Right. I was not even 18 months old. So but it's crazy that you could set an 18-month timeline, because Karen, could you have done that when you were the publisher of the magazine?
No, are you kidding me? That timeline would have never ended. You know what I mean? That would have been ongoing. And here's the thing. We could stop now. I mean, we're good. Our income is, we have a lifestyle that we would be fine. But we do have that competitive nature, and we do see how much potential, and so our personalities don't let us stop. We could, but no way, man. We're going to keep going because it's just too good.
Well, and we also have goals. We have specific things we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, we're very clear on what we want, where we want to go.
But here's the thing. It's our choice.
Right.
That's the difference. We have a choice on the matter. It's not we have to. And
our kids are kind of enjoying the lifestyle as well. You know,
right. So we're now, this word's come up a couple of times, lifestyle, right? And obviously what you guys have is this freedom, right? And you didn't choose to test your freedom, but over the last month, your freedom was tested, in the sense that you were absent from your business for 30 days and your business actually grew, right? So one of my favorite questions to ask people who are enjoying some success in network marketing is this: what is this freedom like that you have now?
Wow.
And I want to hear from both of you. So you guys choose who goes first. What is freedom like?
Here's the moment where I knew it and felt it and embraced it. My daughter started her first year of college last fall. And like I was saying, my girlfriends, we have kids the same age, and they were scrambling on how they were going to pay for school, cashing in 401ks, moving money around. And I was able to write a check and say, have a great semester, babe, do great.
Wow.
That was when it hit me. That was freedom to me, to not stress over how am I going to pay for my child's education. Some people, you know, it's the cars and the houses and stuff like that. I just want to be able to do things like that and not stress. Not stressing is very important to me. And and seeing other people stress over it, and I wasn't. Oh my gosh, that day, that's when it hit me. That was the day I was like, we've made it, babe. We've done it.
We've done it.
Oh, so proud of you guys. Okay, Peter, what's freedom like for you?
Okay, so it's similar, because you've met Michaela, and you know she's really artsy and wants to be a photographer. She has dreams of going to this specific school in New York City, and of course it's one of the most expensive universities in the world, right? And realizing that the entire tuition would be less than a month's income. Again, it's not an income claim, just that concept of freedom. Throw that disclaimer up.
Yeah, you just had to make me put it up there.
I know. You know, we're talking about freedom because we've worked hard. You know, now here's the thing. Even though we're working, remember, we go a lot of places, right? And our kids come. We went to Cancun together, all of us. We had a blast, didn't we? That was amazing. Our kids were there. So it's a little different when you when you're sacrificing and the family's coming in, they're buying into the vision, and you know that it's perpetual. And that goes back to the vision of Holt and Bugs. We bought into this whole myth that the industry could be perpetual and the income could be residual. It really is. And that, you know, let's face it, a year ago when we were all doing this, we went on faith because Holton Buggs is such a visionary, and we were, man, if there's one man who can absolutely turn the industry around, it's him. But it was faith. It's not faith anymore. So all that to say, we're now working harder than we ever have. But our kids are, it's almost like the difference between the Eastern concept of work and the Western concept of work, where the Western concept of work is separate from everything. Work is just one aspect. In the Eastern concept of work, and that's the culture I kind of grew up in, it's just part of life, and everything becomes part of it. So our family is part.
It's a family business.
Yeah, I mean, it's a family business. It's a home-based business. And by the way, our long-term goal is we want to start an incubator for social enterprises. That's not $100 million goal. Right. That may not even be a $500 million goal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's a big goal. We're going to have to work really hard and long and smart. The leadership team that's in corporate, our leadership team, the entire concept of loyalty and unity and edification that this diamond group has together, we've never been part of anything like this. It's a dream.
That sounds absolutely phenomenal. All right, we're gonna start wrapping this up. You guys have got all of us goosebumps, absolute fascinated, totally inspired. There are people who are watching this right now, or maybe they will watch the recording of this, who have similar backgrounds, and maybe because of titles, prestige, network, they might be reticent to get involved in network marketing. But yet, even though they may have all of those things inside, they might be experiencing the same type of negative feelings that you were, distance from the family, not, guilt for not being there enough, or even being depressed, feeling that they've sold out for a big paycheck, but lots of unhappiness. What is, as a parting shot, what would you say to those people? Let's start with you, Karen.
I would say, first of all, what we've done here is a completely new model. And I always preface it by that, say, this is a revolutionary new business model, because the way, yes, it's network marketing, but it's a different way of doing business. And people that have business experience will understand the idea of a ground floor opportunity. They'll understand the aspect of technology and how fast and what a good space for business that is in. Here's the thing, this company has all the talking points that a business person, a corporate person will understand. This company is the type of company that you could talk to a venture capitalist and they will perk up and listen. It's not the typical, that we're all used to. It is completely different. And so if you have been in network marketing before and you've approached people about this and been shot down, just know this is so radically different. Don't let that affect you. This is a new model that has everything a corporate person, a business person, and someone that's looking for other options and other opportunities. This will be right up their alley, I promise you. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Peter, your turn.
What I say is, do you want to do something that matters? Really, and it's because Karen brought up, this is something corporate people will understand. Let's face it, Tigray, the president of nations is typically not on anybody's prospect list, right? You don't have those kinds of people when you're writing down your list. Well, who am I going to call? The former president of Mexico, who, by the way, was also the past president of
Coca-Cola Latin America.
Coca-Cola Latin America may have been bigger, not sure. But really, people think, oh, well, he's connected to the foundation. He's not just connected to the foundation. He and his wife are ambassadors in Ibüümerang. It's very hard.
Join the company.
They are in the company. Why? Because it's something that you can speak to anybody about.
And they understood the business model.
That specifically, it was the business model.
And let me say that again to make sure that's clear. He was the CEO, before he was president, CEO of Coca-Cola Latin America. So he knows business. So
right.
if somebody with that kind of credential can see this business as a viable business option, then we should never be afraid to talk to anybody about this.
And the last thing I would say is, this is really, and it hit me. There's another thing we've never said before. This is what great looks like early.
Oh, so good, Peter.
Okay.
That's good. That
is good. Yeah, that's good. So really, because we're still, we're so young. The challenge, one of the challenges we have is because of the vision of Mr. Bugs and because of the talent and dedication of you and Mark and the rest of the corporate team, we don't look like a startup. And really, what about us is startup? We're a year old.
Yeah.
That's young.
And we're already looking so good.
We just look
Can you
so
imagine
good.
in 5 years how
Right.
good? Oh my gosh.
Right. But with all that said, this is what great looks like early.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see that on my Instagram page. Just give me like a couple hours.
You have to give him credit for it.
I'm going to give him credit. I promise. I will give him credit. That's so good. And I just want to say, you guys, first of all, amazing guest on the show. For anybody who's watching, this is really who Peter and Karen Hirsch are. This is them. Just every single day, they're not putting on. This is who they are. They're amazing people, and they are incredibly successful, and they always love to share from the heart. And I have to say, you guys crack me up. You use so many $5 words today that I feel extremely wealthy. I heard metaphorically, I heard venture capitalism. You're both guilty. But it was just so fun. And I'm just so glad that you guys came on here and you shared and you inspired people the way that you did today. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for the invite. You're the best. Awesome. We love you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, for everybody who's watching, you guys stick around for a second. Everybody who's watching, you heard the name of the company that Peter and Karen have chosen as the vehicle to not just maintain their freedom, but to take it to whole new levels. And if you're inspired and you want to learn the details, because obviously we didn't give you any details and we didn't do any presentations, and you heard about our CEO, Holton Bugs, and how incredible he is. But if you want the details, guess what? We are sharing those details tonight in just 1 hour from now in English on the Zoom that you see on the screen. Screenshot this. Go ahead, take a screenshot right now. You can get the meeting ID so that you can join us on Zoom an hour from now. Of course, you can join us on facebook.com/Ibüümerang to attend that meeting via Facebook Live as well. If you would like to hear it in Spanish, 2 hours from now, 9 o'clock, we've got a different Zoom ID also on our Facebook Live channel. You can join, you can be there to get the information, to get the details. And what we always encourage people to do is to get on with us and to give this a professional look, meaning get on, take notes, put your phone down, stop, don't Instagram, tell your family to leave you alone so you can pay attention and you can grasp the business concept behind our company that's got Peter and Karen Hirsch so excited that they are building their future. And like Karen said, they've turned it into the family business. So that said, everybody, it's been an honor and a pleasure to share with you guys. Share this recording with somebody who needs to see it. Once again, Peter and Karen, thank you so much. We love you guys. And this is another episode of Conversations with Entrepreneurs.